Hey everybody, today is October 15th, 2021, and what did I do here today in Austin, Texas? Well, I went to the Texas Military Museum. I put up some footage of me, traveling, going around, seeing all the equipment, all the tanks and the machinery and stuff, and it was a pretty nifty, neat, museum. Pretty small. It was free admission, so free admission. Yeah, it was. I mean, it was free to go in, right? It's free admission. So, yeah, yeah, it was pretty neat. You learned a lot of history and. You learn about Texas's military past and how, from the Mexican-American War to the Civil War to World War II, Korean War and Vietnam. You learn about all the soldiers that were from here, from Texas, that went to war, and the fighting that was here during the Mexican-American War and during the Civil War. And it's pretty interesting. I recommend it if you're a big history fan. It's a small museum. It's not as impressive as I thought it was going to be, but it's neat, and it does its job of sort of educating you on the past about, Texas. So if you're really into like looking at tanks and looking at equipment and getting information about that, then I recommend it for you. But if you want an in-depth experience of going through Texas history, it was somewhat disappointing. Besides that, what's been going on today? Well, I've been thinking a lot about, how I've been living here in Austin, Texas. I've been sort of here with my bus, and I was thinking about how I'm distinct from Nomadlife in the sense of I live in an RV, and the main reason why I chose to live in an RV is because it's cheaper and easier to live this way. And also it's very simple to live this way. It's pretty minimalist. There's a lot of people who live nomad life, and they have their RV and they're just traveling across the United States. And I wanted to talk about that, why I don't see myself as sort of doing the whole nomad life. While it is a cool idea, and I can do it, I have the opportunity to be nomadic, there's a lot of disadvantages that I've seen over from the years of research I did into the type of lifestyle before I even got an RV. One of the disadvantages is that you're traveling around and you're constantly uprooting yourself from one city to another. Let's say if I moved to, drove up to Dallas, Texas, right? I would familiarize myself with the place, know all the cool spots, and I would start kind of meeting people and developing social connections. But after that, you would probably leave after a couple months and you would have to start all over again. You would have to do this over and over, sort of familiarizing yourself with the city, meeting people, then leaving. Familiarizing yourself with the city, then leaving. And a lot of people can do that. A lot of people can sort of get used to that, sort of going from one city to another, meeting a lot of people, establishing some connections, but going back and forth from one city to another. To me, that can be, and I've looked into it, I've seen people write on blogs, make videos about this. That life can be very miserable after a while and be very depressing, because here you're alone, and you're not just alone, but you're constantly driving from one new place to another. Now, obviously, the advantages of it is that you're seeing great places, and you're going to great cities, great spots across the United States, and if you have the chance to go to Canada. And I could do that. I could one day. There's one place I would love to travel to is Denver, Colorado. I would love to travel to Denver, Colorado, but I can't stay there because of the fact that during the winter they receive a large amount of snow, and it gets very cold. And I do not do well in the cold. I cannot stand the cold, and I wouldn't be able to handle all the snowfall that would be there. So I would stay there for probably a couple months, but then I would have to leave again. So it can be depressing at times, because you're having to do this over and over and over again, going from one place to another. But there are people who have done that. And of course, you've seen the movie Nomadland, where this sort of lifestyle is the subject of the film. But what the movie, I think when I saw it, and this is just a short review of the film, the problem that I saw with the film is that it sort of glorifies and sort of shows how that life can be incredible and how that life can be exciting and also depressing, but it doesn't show how most people who are in that position, they have to be there, or a lot of those people they are isolated, traveling around and doing that sort of nomadic living, and it can be harsh on people. You have to be a certain type of human being to kind of deal with that isolation, and just the fact that you're just going from one place to another and you're having to pay for maintenance on your vehicle. It's not easy, and it's not cheap to live that way. It gets expensive, not just gasoline, but just maintenance, oil changes, the fact that you're gonna have to rotate your tires, you're gonna have to check your rear differential, your universal joint, all that stuff. That wears out after time, and you get issues with your motor as well, and you might have to replace your motor, and that's not easy, and that's not cheap. That's thousands of dollars you're gonna have to replace on your van, your RV, on your bus. So that's one of the problems with the kind of RV life, of this sort of RV nomadic life. But how I differentiate myself from the sort of nomad life is that here I live in my bus, in my RV, and I live cheaply and live simply, and if I need to go somewhere, I can go somewhere. If I need to change locations, but I'm not constantly moving from one place to another. I'm not constantly, changing cities constantly. I'm familiar with Austin so far, and Austin's a great city. I'm still meeting a lot of people. There's not, I haven't found my new best friend yet, but I'm meeting a lot of people, and there's a lot of great human beings here. And if I go to San Antonio, there's wonderful human beings everywhere. If I go to San Antonio, go to Houston, go to Dallas, Fort Worth, it would be all great, but it would come with its disadvantages. So I see that being here in Austin, it's great, it's awesome. So I'm familiar with the place. I also have a church that I know that is reliable, that I could park at. So that's great too. So it's, that nomad life can really get to you. But hey, it can have its advantages and its disadvantages. But that's what I just wanted to talk about today and just tell people about. That was what's on my mind. Other than that, what's going on today, I don't know. I got some sleep. It was pretty hot and humid today here in Austin for some reason. I don't know. Rain came through and it was pretty humid. But other than that, nothing much is going on besides the whole museum thing. Tomorrow I might go to a meetup. Tomorrow I might go to a grill, and might get footage of that and then see what happens from there. But hope everybody takes it easy. Hope your day goes well. And yeah, see you guys later.